Hey y'all, give me a minute here and we'll get started building this thing. Just gotta grab some water. All right. God, that music is gonna put me to sleep. So, what are we doing today? It's been a while since we've done this. At least this sort of thing. Hopefully y'all can hear me all right. There we go. Some volume. Sweet. All right. God, this music's gonna put me to sleep. Yeah, you're gonna go down a little bit. All right. So, what do we got going on today? So, I'm gonna be building a new quad. If you guys aren't aware, 533. Those guys are awesome when it comes to everything race. We all know that. But they are looking at building a new freestyle frame. They had some success with their footy a couple years ago. I think it came out maybe 2 years ago. I think it was. A lot of people liked it, right? Even some racers, or even I've seen people racing the footies. But this is going to be an actual freestyle frame, and I've gotten to take a little bit of a look at it, but I haven't built it up yet. So we are going to dig into it. We're going to build it. This is a prototype, so let's get that out of the way first. So this is a prototype. This is all about being a community build. So they're really big on get it into the hands of the people who will actually use it, break it, destroy the thing, and come up and find the weak spots, right? Find the things that suck about it. So get it into the hands of the people, and then they can make updates from there, do what needs to get done, which I think is absolutely awesome. 533, Evan and Armando, they were gracious enough to send me a copy, as if it's like pirated music or a video or something. Anyway, sent me a copy. So yeah, they sent me a frame. Now we'll talk about it when we start building it, but there are a couple of things that are a little bit unique to this frame. My perspective on this is coming from a place of, I've built maybe about 10, 15 quads or so, right? Freestyle flyer, but I do have a couple racers back there, right? On 533 frames as well. Right now, my favorite frame company is Quadmula. I did a live stream building up their F5. I have an awesome sub 250 F3 that is also right above me. Those are absolutely my favorite quads to fly, and I almost don't touch any of my other ones anymore. The frame design on the F5 is pretty pretty much all pretty damn standard now, right? At least if you're going with like a split deck design. So a lot of the differences are how many small little intricate differences or small things can you add into this, right? Quadmula had the, hey, everything's an M2 screw, but you throw some tubing around it and you have an M3, and it's supposed to be vibration isolation, right? Okay, sure. So they did that. What else did Quamula do? They have the PS3 inserts for their TPU. So that's kind of like this, right? If only that would focus up. So those are the inserts so that you're not actually squishing down your TPU, right? I think that that was genius. I absolutely love that. I know some people have done that kind of, did that on themselves, figured out a way to make that happen. So as we're building through this new 533 prototype, which, by the way, I keep saying we're going to call it the Fever Frame. F33VR, the Fever Frame, right? We'll talk about what some of those differences are, where they got the ideas. I did interview Evan a few videos back when this was when Street League was in Dallas, and talked about the frame a little bit. So if you want kind of a precursor to what was on their mind when they were designing this thing, that's a really good video to check out. All right, I'm done yapping. Let's go to the bench. I don't want that camera. What camera do I want? Let's do that. We don't want the display. We don't care about that. Hey, look. All right, we got pieces. Let's get the microphone over here. And I got to get my water too. I'm going to be probably mostly heads down, like trying to focus on this dang thing. And I need to crank up the light. I look super creepy. So all the lighting is basically because Halloween, right? Kick-ass. All right, there we go. So workspace. All right. Shit works. How about that? Halloween. Maybe I should make it orange. I'll make it orange behind me. All right. So as far as what they sent me, we're going to dig through everything. I guess one of the first important things to know is this is both a split top deck design or you can make it a flat top deck, right? So let's talk about all the pieces of the carbon. Okay, your arms, and I know that they do this for a couple of their racing frames, but the way that this actually connects and everything, I really dig. I haven't built a frame with these kind of interlocking arms before, so but the way that these will lock in there, along with the spine plates, those will end up locking it in there pretty good, I suspect. So I will give it a few gusto to break the hell out of these things, because that's a goal. We want to see what this will take. So, and I believe that they said this is 6mm carbon. So there you go, 6mm carbon on the arms, if you were wondering. So here are the pieces. So you got your bottom plate, and you got your mid plate, and between your bottom plate and the mid plate, you have these. I think they call them spine plates, something along those lines. So those will be sitting in between there. Let's see if I can get this lined up right. Yeah, this is not a super produced video, by the way. So I don't know what the hell you're expecting, but we're going to just dig through this together, damn it. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll do it live. You know what? How about let's put the arms down first before I grab that, so we can get an idea on the layout of this thing. Okay. So those arms there, these arms here. Plate, and from here you can kind of see how the those plates will lock up with the arms here, because they do kind of slot into particular slots right there and there. So honestly, I mean, I think that this thing's going to lock up really well. So anybody who's built some of their racing frames that have that will be able to go like, well, yeah, it works great. All right. So now let's talk about the top plate. So here we have two different sets of top plates. So you have a split top plate. Actually, before that, let me grab the camera plates here. So aluminum camera plates. Dig it. So there's 1, 2. So let's talk about the top plates. The first one is just the flat straight across the top. Once we get the actual standoffs on there. So, hey, standard frame, right? Going all the way from the bottom to the top. Let me get the calipers on there. So that would end up being 30 millimeters. So it'd be 30 millimeter gap, top to bottom. That is opposed to, I believe it's a 20 millimeter if you go with the split top plate. So split top plate, basically have this guy in the front, and then you have this guy floating. I believe it's about 10 millimeters lower. So because they're 20 millimeter standoffs for this bottom plate, and you'll see those when we dig into them when we start the build here. All right, so I'm gonna leave that there. The other thing is, and I'll show you the standoffs, the special standoffs that they sent here when we get building it. But these particular bits, they didn't send me any TPU with my kit. Not a huge deal. I got the X1 carbon in the back there. So Armando does have all of the prints for this already on printables. So just search 533, be able to see his name. And he's already got everything for this thing good to go out there. So I was able to print all the gear actually for this stuff that they have set up. So I mean, they're ready to go. They're on top of production. They even have this nice little kit where it's actually all just kind of combined. So you just throw this in as a project file and print it, and that gives you your camera plates that will or your camera spacers, and then the spacers that go in between the actual top plates. Okay. The other thing that I printed, this I did kind of have to mash together because he didn't have a print for the GoPro 8. So I kind of just remixed the base plate that they had out there. And I think I'm running, this is like a 25-degree tilt. So when we do finally get some video, that is what it's going to be running. All right. One thing that I didn't really dig into yet is the hardware on this guy. So let's see what we got here. So a little bit longer screws. So those will be, we'll have to see. These look like they're for the 03 air unit. These longer ones, I'm assuming these are probably for the stack. Yeah, stack screws for that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think those are probably for the camera cage. These are probably extras for a stack screw, depending on what we need it for. And then here is our list of standoffs. So let's take a look. I'm just going to pull out one of these standoffs. All right. So it's kind of got this like barbell look to it, right? It's almost like a half a barbell standoff that protrudes a little bit higher. And the way that this is going to fit, so on these front two, we'll actually go through the plate. And then you're going to have a spacer on like that. And then, so that'll sit like this. And then the other part of that top plate is going to go right on top and then screw it down. So again, I printed this with TPU. Of course, I had to go with the 533 teal TPU, and my TPU, I don't remember what infill I'm using, but it's pretty hefty infill. I mean, these are pretty solid. So if you're using not a lot of infill on it, maybe it'll be a little bit different. I'm not really sure. But even with just that spacer on, without it screwing on, there isn't a whole lot of give here. Let me take the spacer off, and you might be able to see a tad bit of wiggle there, but honestly, once it gets locked down, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. Yeah. All right. I got to stop dropping stuff. So looking at this, just kind of press fitting everything. There are holes on the bottom so that you can access the underneath, so you can get to your stack screws. I didn't see anything else on here in this bag or anything about nuts, so I don't have any washers, or excuse me, nuts to put on the very bottom of the stack. So I'm probably just going to have free floating screws holding down the stack, which honestly isn't a huge deal. I know a lot of people put nuts on them, and a bunch of my quads do as well. But we will figure that out. All right, so I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for locking those plates, but those are gonna have to be longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what screws I need to use for this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wonder if those are for that. Okay. So let's just start kind of playing around with what screws need to go where. I'm not going to get this right the first time. The other thing is, one of the, hey, Scraphead. Yeah, can I weigh it once it's built? Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to weigh it after the frame is built on its own, and then we're going to weigh it once I get everything loaded on it. Probably including the GoPro as well. That's really the weight that we care about. So first thing I really want to do is make sure I have all the right screws set up for this. Because I need to make sure that, at least for the 4 corners here, the screws... Yeah, so that's not going to do it because we need to make sure that they fit all the way up into the standoffs. I wonder if that's what those are for. I'm betting you they are. Yeah, those look like about the right size for it. And probably definitely not... Right now I'm just kind of doing test fitting and everything, making sure I have all the right hardware for it. Obviously, I have to put the darn arm in first. Okay, so let's start sorting. Those will go there. I know that those are going to be my 4 corners. I wonder if this is going to be my center here. Nope, not long enough. So I need 2 other long screws. But that's what those are for. All right, let's do a test. Yes. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. Let's go ahead and get the arms. Huh, I wonder if it's really going to be that easy. The bottom plate, the mid plate, and the arms, if it really is that easy and they slide in there that easy, and then you can do your stack afterwards through here, that's kind of a really big help. Okay, arms. I need arms. And see how easy these are to kind of pop in here. There's 1 and 2. Okay, so let's take long. Yep. Spread it a little bit. We'll do the other one. All right. You see me cocking my head to the side, that's so I can actually see you guys chatting. I probably shouldn't crank this down all the way until I get these other arms in. Now. All right, so there's one side, and again, I haven't cranked everything down yet. Let's get the other side here. So we're looking at the very bottom of it. Like I said, I haven't played with arms that lock the way that these do. So I'd be really interested to hear how some of their race frames that do it this way are. As far as race frames go, I have 2 race builds. Both are from 533, but they are both the Switchback Zero frames. So I run them Freedom spec. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with racing frames. So yeah, these spine plates are kind of interesting. I think they serve 2 purposes. And this isn't coming from them. This is just what I assume by sitting here looking at it. One would be certainly a good spacer and rigidity between your low plate and your mid plate. The other thing that they provide is they do slot into where the arms are. So they probably help quite a bit with the rigidity of the arms, which we'll see here when I lock this stuff down. Also, I've looked at these parts, obviously, when I took them out of the packaging, but I haven't really lined up anything or done any of this yet. So I'm really hoping that I don't screw it up and have to take apart a whole bunch of crap with the wrong screws, because I've had to do that before. I think building the F3, the Quad Mula F3, I had to do that. All right, so there we go. 6 screws. What's the size of the outside ones? So these outside ones are 15 millimeter. 14 millimeter, it says there. So that means that that smaller one is, yeah, 8 millimeter for the middle one in there. How much is the gap? If you guys care about the gap from the top of the plate to the very bottom of the plate, is about 5 millimeters. All right, there we go. She's starting to look like a quad a little bit. So now comes the fun part. Let's get some standoffs on here. Let's do that. The standoffs included for these plates, you do kind of have the funky ones that we talked about that I'll show you here in a second. Ones that kind of have this barbell look to it. If you go with the split top design, the other 3, so fronts here, backs here, and you get 1 and 2 and 3. I believe this is a 20 millimeter standoff, so pretty tiny. No, why did I say 20? Good Lord. Is that seriously? Yeah. Did I not zero this thing? Because I'm going to feel like a complete ass. You do stuff live and you don't check it. All right, 15 millimeter standoff on that. So race frame with this year Typhoon, the new 533, a few others. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, longitudinal stiffeners. All right. Fancy names. All right, so let's get these barbells on here first. Okay, there's 1 and 2. Now I have to figure out exactly what screw I want to use for the back standoff there. Probably just one of those button heads. They only gave me, so they did give me an extra set of the front ones. I don't know what we're gonna call these. I don't know if they have a particular name. I kept calling it the like barbell, but I know that's actually a definition for a different standoff. But I don't know, what do we call these? Come up with a good name for these standoffs, if there's not already one. And do we want to do that? I'd like a little bit more thread on that back one. Oh my god, do I have the wrong damn size screw? What the hell? There we go. I also kind of find it interesting that they have a press nut on the back. They didn't have to do that, right? Actually, yeah, I mean, there's the reason why they do that. They do that so that probably all the same sizes for all the press nuts, because you do want them on your inner ones up there. So that's probably what it is. All right, let's get our camera plates going. Can't remember. So the big question here is, which way do they go? Do they go that way or do they go this way? Let's see if we can see where the hole is. Okay, so there is kind of a notch. You can see the difference here. So kind of have a lip on one side here, and it's completely smooth on the outside. It looks like that lip actually goes to the outside. There we go. Upside down. That was the problem. All right, so they really only do go in one particular way. So the cutout would be on the outside. That way the holes here line up. All right. Let's screw some stuff in here. Wrong one. There we go. I haven't really talked about it yet, but all the parts that we're going to be putting into this, I'm going to be putting an 03 air unit in here. So I'm wondering if when we get to that point, if I realize that I put this damn cage on the wrong way and I actually need it a little bit wider, but we will figure that out when we get to it. So yeah, I mean, it's looking like a standard 5-inch quad so far. All right, so that's cool. You know, while we're here and we have this open, let's talk about the print and the top of the plate that we have here. Okay, so they pulled over and did the one standoff on the back. I think I think I've seen two frames that do it, but probably the most famous frame that does it is the Vanny Style, the Vanny Style Pro. So that frame does one standoff in the back as well. I was originally just planning on like zip tying the antenna right to the back. Because, you know, Armando talked about this kind of in their release video. You know, people were worried about like things moving and shifting, but he puts this little notch on the back of these because the back of the actual plate, the top plate, has a notch on there. So really, this shouldn't be twisting or anything. So I hope that's a good look of what that looks like when we get that locked on here. So let's go ahead and put that on. And I'll worry about the antenna and all the other crap later. Matter of fact, I can use that to kind of twist to make sure that's nice and locked on there. So that'll push on like that, like that. Huh. I guess we're getting there, aren't we? So now I need 3 of these. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to go into my toolbox because I have to get a battery pad when we are finished with this. At the very end, at least. I don't know. Does anybody actually fly without a battery pad? I feel like that would be kind of dumb. I don't know. I don't feel like that would be the smartest move. Ah. 1 and 2 and... Now, of course, I'm just building this up so I can get the thing actually built and weighed. I'll have to take these screws out when we actually start putting everything together. So I am going to weigh it with the TPU. Figure I might as well put the TPU into the bracket itself, so you get a good look at that. All right, the final top plate here. Okay. So those lock pretty well. And, you know, it's 2023. I don't know what the heck I was doing with a manual screwdriver. We got technology. Let's use it, right? Oh, but not if you're an idiot and you can't find the right bit. Let's try that again. All right. We're not like cranking this down anyway. We're just doing it to see the full build. And really, as far as like complication of building this, not complicated. I mean, we'll see once we actually start getting the parts on the inside of it, but it's a tight deck. It is a little bit tight if you build it on the split top deck, because you only have, what did I say, 15 millimeters, right, to work with. Make sure that I zero this out properly. Yeah, you only have about 16 millimeters on the inside to work with, but I mean, you're fixing it and you're working on it open anyway, so it's just a matter of making sure everything gets down and cranked down there well enough. So that gives you a really good look on the spacing. Let's see if that thing can actually focus the spacer on it. Try and yank this thing. I mean, it's not moving. That thing feels pretty locked in. And why would it? Because it's solid on the bottom and it's screwed on from the top that puts pressure onto it. So, yeah, we'll have to see once, maybe once we get flying. Oh, the other thing to think about is having the right screw and pressure and everything once we actually get that loaded on there with the GoPro. I really wish that, and I might do this, I might adapt a new plate or a new GoPro mount that incorporates the PS3, the inserts, because I do really like those. And I prefer to do that any chance I get. It's actually really close to the Quadmula spacing. I think the back spacing might be almost exact. Like the back spacing is good. You might be able to see that. But the front spacing compared to the Quadmula one is ever so slightly, like maybe a millimeter, maybe a millimeter and a half wider. So might even be able to just crank this together and push it down and use the same one. Back and forth, it looks like, you know, they're probably a millimeter off there too. Anyway, now how about that? How about that for an ask? How about we standardize some of this if possible? Like, because mounts are so annoying that you always have to search for the mount for your frame, and you just can't get these four corners like perfectly aligned between like some really popular frames. So that's annoying and it bothers me. I mean, she's done. If I weren't talking and poking around and I had done this before and I knew what screws to take, that would have taken 0 time. All right, let's see what she weighs. So this is with the plate, with a couple of the TPU and the antenna, but of course no gear on it, no battery pad either, and we're at 118. I'm gonna make sure that was tarred out. Yeah. So that ain't right. Or it could just be my scale sucks. So yeah, so it reads about 119. So 119 grams. What we're gonna do next? Let me throw on the top plate so you can at least see it. Yo, what's up, Big? How you doing, man? All right, let's get this top plate off. So let's see here, 119. What are the bets that when I put the other top plate on, it'll be heavier or lighter? So you have to swap the standoffs. So that's the first thing. So you do have slightly larger standoffs. But you don't have the TPU spacers here. Probably be just about the same, but let's find out. And we can actually open her up and start putting her guts in. I'm not sure if we're going to get to the point of actually software and getting her up and running. We'll see how tired I am. All right. So that's one thing that I just thought about. So it is a split top deck, but you still have to pull both parts off if you want to get to the front, get to the... No, I guess you could just pull the front off if you need to get to the camera, but if you need to get to the guts, you need to pull that camera off the front plate of it. I guess not a huge deal, because if you're only running with one, you're going to have to do that anyway, right? All right, so just give an idea on what it'll look like and the difference of the spacing, so you can see what kind of spacers, the different standoffs that you'd end up needing. 5 grams heavier. All right, so it's about 118, 119. You know what? Can we use those same front spacers or front standoffs? Yeah, you can. Okay, good. Let's get the other ones on there. Without losing these. Because they are tiny. All right. 3. Yeah, that looks like it'd do the trick. 1 and 2 and 3. Let's see. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you fly any freestyle frames with the split top deck? I think there's only a couple of them out there. And actually, I think the ones that I know are more like half of a top plate and then a camera cage. I don't know if that counts. All right. Ooh, wait, did that not fit? All right, so I got the front locked in. Okay, so this is the top plate feels like I have to push on this to make it fit. Again, reminder, pre-production. But this definitely does not. As a matter of fact, when I line up these holes in the back here, this back standoff is definitely off by about 0.5 millimeter. It's enough that it bothers me looking at it. I'll put it that way. So I don't know if I'm going to put that back screw in with this one. Again, this is prototype. So that would be one thing that I'd say, hey, if the other models are having the same issue, let me know. Not me. If I were them, I would say let me know. I don't know what they'll tell you to do. If I were Armando, though, I'd say let's make sure that we have those tolerances correct on there. So hopefully you can see this. The standoff, I actually have to push it forward. Oh, I wish that focused a little bit better. I'm literally like yanking on this thing, and that's when it lines up. So yeah, just a little bit of a difference. All right, so let's take the screw. Oh, I was still missing another screw there. All the other ones are on here though. Let's get the scale back. All right, so we were at 118, 119. I'm trying to get stuff out of the way where the scale's going to be. Pull that back here. And, oh, I actually need that tiny screw to make sure it's even with where we were at before. Come on, zero out, sucker. Come on, you can do it. Don't turn off all the way, Jesus. I swear to God, this isn't my first time doing this. I don't want fluid ounces. I want drone ounces. 117, 118. Okay, so the very first time that I waited, it said 118.5. The second time it said 119.5. And here, this is sitting at 118. Yeah, 118. So there you go. Essentially no difference. I think the weight difference is you go down in weight because of the couple spacers that you have to put in for the two plates. I guess it's ever a little bit of overlapping of carbon as well. So that's the weight that you take off, and it's probably made up by putting in these standoffs that are ever so slightly, you know, I think the original ones were 15, and then these are, well, these got to be then 20, right? Yep. So you go from a 15 millimeter standoff to a 20 millimeter standoff times 3. It equals about the same exact weight. So no matter what you end up doing, you're looking at 118 grams. All right. Let's get this top plate off. I don't think I'm going to be flying it in this configuration, but I'll give you a good look around it at least so you can see what it looks like. Also, to note again, prototype model. The top plate that they sent me for the one piece doesn't have the notch in the back, so this could actually shift a little bit, but not a huge deal. Take a look at the bottom. Yeah, I like the way that everything locks together. Um, you know, oh look, it's a 5-inch frame. Okay, cool. The real details are going to be in how it flies once you get it up, especially with the split top. All right, so we're going to take these out and put them aside where I can remember where the hell I put them. You know, I guess that's one additional risk, is anytime you got more parts, you got more shit to lose. In a perfect world, you're like, no, the parts I have are always on the drone and I never take them off. But we break stuff. All right, so we're going to take that off. I'm going to take the plates out for now. No, I'm not, because I forgot I screwed them in. Go ahead and take that TPU off. We're going to take standoffs. So anything that I'm not going to use, I'm going to get the hell off my desk because I'm a mess. You know, I bet you could also shave a gram or two off by changing those standoffs, but it's a freestyle frame. This isn't a racing frame where you need to knock off a thousandth of a second here, a thousandth of a second there. It's a freestyle frame. Give me a break. A couple grams here and there. Pfft. So I used to like think I had to be all snobby about the weight of my freestyle quads. No. Maybe because I don't fly them well enough. There might be some truth to that, but like my quad Mula, I think when I fly that with the GoPro and everything, I'm like 780 grams, right? To me, that's like standard, right? Maybe to like Vanny, and it's like, dear God, why would you fly such a dump truck? But I don't know. That seems standard to me. All right, so right now I'm going to kind of test fit and play around with what sort of stack screws I might have available to me. I think I just saw a bag. And these are long, but they're not super long. Let's see what these look like when I get them through. I might actually go pull. I have some nylon nuts that I might actually put on. And if I put on nylon nuts, yeah, that looks like a good size for a stack screw. That is not, I mean, I'm gonna need nuts anyway. Huh. All right, that's the one we're gonna plan for. We're gonna use that. Let me go ahead and grab the stack. We'll just start test fitting. All right, so what I'm putting in here, by the way, let me start with this, because this is a really good point. This is what I started with. So this, I've had collecting dust now. I bought one of these. I love SpeedyB stacks. If anything, just for the Bluetooth functionality. Dear God, thank you, SpeedyB. Hey, anybody making a stack out there, do that. Really appreciate it. And you can do it for reasonably a good price. This thing, after shipping and everything else, was $70. Give me a break, right? So this is the 405 V3 from SpeedyB. I've had this thing collecting dust for a while, and I was really excited to get it into this frame. And let's take a look. Yeah, where are the 30 by 30 holes, guys? Doesn't exist here. Armando did make a comment saying it's not on the prototype unit. Again, prototype, right? But he is going to try to work that into the actual production unit. So these 20 by 20, you can expect 30 by 30 in the production unit. So this is going to have to go bye-bye for now. I'll give a shout out to Valerdis. Don't ask me how to spell it, but if you Google it, it should correct you, valerdis.com, because I was planning on doing this build last night, and I was like, oh crap, I need a stack for it. So at like 7 o'clock, Victor, owner of Valerdis, he was like, yeah, dude, I got you covered. Come on out. So I met up with him late at night in order to get this sucker. All right. So this is the T-motor stack. So it's the F7 45 amp stack. I have these in my race builds, so I am familiar with the stack. I like it. Ooh, and they give you nice long screws on here, which we're going to take a look at. because they might be a little bit too long. It is possible that they're too long and they hit the top plate. So let's go ahead and test that. Yeah, so that is absolutely going to hit the top plate. So I don't know if it's easy to see, but you got to remember the plate back there is going to be at the lower end of this this barbell standoff piece. So that's way too long. It might, let's see if it would fit. No, it definitely would not fit even for the straight top plate. All right, so you go back in the bag. I'm going to need all you spacers though. And I'm going to need, okay, so there are nuts here. I'm going to need those at the end of this. Okay, so the other thing, anytime you're building a freestyle quad is, what the hell do you do with the capacitor? This looks like it has more than enough room to deal with that. So that's good. I don't know if I'm going to do all the soldering up today. I may just do the mounting for everything. Let's see here. I haven't decided yet. All right. Cool. Where are my screws? Here's my screws. Oh, I need to get the dang thingamajiggets on there. I'm only screwing up here because I'm on camera. I swear. All right. ESC. We're gonna go from the bottom here. And I cheat sometimes with one of these guys. Okay. Since I don't have a nut on the bottom, I'm going with the larger part of the gummy on the bottom. So it will sit like that. One and two and three. So while I get these in here, I'll tell you a little bit about my fun with DJI lately. And God, I wish they were watching right now. So I run DJI and HD0. I started on DJI when I started flying, right? So I was spoiled. I never knew the joys of analog, right? As a matter of fact, I've only flown analog 3 times ever, right? So I had an 03 and had a crash and screwed up the ribbon cable on the inside of it. So that sucks, right? Sent it back and said, hey, can you guys fix this? They were back and said, yeah, for, I think it was $140. Sure. And I'm like, I can get a brand new unit for that. That's retail on that. And they're like, okay, what about 90? Or I think it was. I was like, I can get a refurbished one for less than that. What the hell? That's fraud, right? Anyway, I ended up paying them $70. $70 and, oh, I just put the wrong one on there. Dang it. Yeah, I get distracted. $70. I paid them and they said, oh, you're getting a brand new unit. Okay, fine. I get it in the mail and the housing on it is missing 4 screws. There's 8 screws on the housing. I'm missing 4 screws and it came in bubble wrap, not even in packaging or anything. Keep in mind, they said this was a brand new unit to replace it. I don't think so. So a couple of emails back and forth, except these emails were about the unit. Not only was it missing screws from the housing, not only did it just come in bubble wrap, no packaging, which I don't really care about packaging. It's not a big deal, but it is kind of indicative when you say something's new. You're like, oh, they pulled it off the shelf, not like the assembly line. It would not register, activate. So I'd go into activation, and every time I would try to activate it, it'd say, nope, failure. It wouldn't give me any sort of failure code or anything. Even though I sent pictures and even a YouTube video of this, they still didn't seem to understand what I was saying. And like I said, I don't know how they could confuse it. I sent images and I sent a video. About 30 emails into this back and forth, they say, hey, how about this? We'll just send it back to us and we'll give you a new one. And I said, listen, as long as my warranty is covered, I'll keep this one because it worked. It did work. It was just the activation, which I was worried about a warranty issue. They said, yeah, it's still covered under warranty. You're fine. And I said, okay, I'll keep it. Thanks. They said, no, we insist. Basically, we'll send you a new one. I said, absolutely not. Because I'm not sending this back first. There's no way. So, you know, they kept trying to say, basically, too bad you need to send it back first. I said, no, that's not happening. They said, well, if you're concerned about the activation, here's what we'll do. Email us your password into the DJI thing, and we'll activate it for you and send it out to you at the same time that you send it back to us. DJI asked me to send them my password for an account through email. Maybe you don't know anything about security practices or IT, but that is highly irregular, usually against every IT policy in existence. If it's not, it should be. And more than anything, I was shocked that they would even imply or think about asking me to send them any sort of password. So anyway, after 33 emails and complaining about this activation thing, and even offering to say, no, I'll keep it. It's fine as long as my warranty is good. They said, all right, well, we're sending you. Thanks anyway. So tomorrow I should be getting a brand new O3 unit. Brand new, quote. So that's my story about DJI. I know some other people have had some other issues with DJI. Not all that much different than that. Dealing with service issues. Okay, so this will be interesting. I may not have the right size screw for this because this is going to be a damn tight fit. Oh, wait. I think it'll work. I'm going to have to figure out how to tuck this wire because this is kind of a long ESC wire here. Let me just get rid of it for now, I think. I do like that there is space, you know, getting back to the actual frame, which is the thing I'm doing. I do like that there's space for the capacitor. Maybe it's just because I've been building and thinking about 3-inch freestyle quads too much lately. And the new Jin that's out. And those things, God, they're great little rippers, but trying to fit a cap on there for a 6S build, not pleasant. Yeah, so this will be tight. I don't like this. That is way not enough room. So I'm gonna have to grab some. Spacers. So you see what I'm talking about? There's quite a bit of space on the very bottom here. But I can't smush this down enough because I have some of the components in between there pushing. All right. How do you guys do that? How do you figure out the right way to put this stuff on here without getting your stuff touching? Usually it's just trial and error for me, but like looking at that, I might be able to flip that part around. The issue with putting the smaller side of the gummy is you have that connector here. And if you put the smaller side of the gummy, you're crushing your connector up against the carbon on the bottom. And I'm not a big fan of doing that either. I think I might have to test it though. I might have to try it. Dang it. This is not a cooking show, folks, where I already did all of these amazing things and I'm going to have a quad after an hour. This is me actually building it. And even though I have built a handful or two of quads, I wouldn't call myself quite an expert. Certainly an enthusiast, but you're also getting the raw, uncut version. Bardwell, I know that you edit your stuff. I know it takes you this long too. Let's see. Yo, yeah, Big Oil. I said hello. Hope you're still with us, man. Looking forward to seeing you in Atlanta. It's the FPTV Awards in January. So I will be there. Our other admin for DFW FPV will be there, Jonathan. I am Brian Smith, and he is Jonathan Smith, but there's no relation, I swear. That would be a lot of years between us. I'm his uncle. The Bluetooth feature and the app on the phone. Yeah, Travis, that's it's been a lifesaver for me out on the field more than a few times. All right, so we swapped this around. Let's see. Is that going to be a problem? Obviously, that's going to have to pop up. Oh, absolutely, it's going to be a freaking problem. All right, I need to go find some screws. All right, I need to find some screws. Give me a minute. I'm coming back. All right. So, you know, I come prepared, kind of. I'm thinking I might use these guys. Because I'm going to need basically thick then thick. That work. Are you kidding me? Seriously? I just use that. Son of a bitch. It might be too much, though. Okay, so there really isn't a ton. I guess I'm learning that that's the downside of kind of a narrow deck, right? Is you don't have a whole lot of room to make your stack work. How do I want to do this? Yeah, what other screws do I have? So those are too long. Those are just right. And probably limited as far as how much higher they can go. Yep, that's pretty damn limited. So this is all the screw space that I have to work with. I'll show you why, because as soon as yeah, let's see what it actually looks like with that screw on there. Yeah, so you can see my white ass finger because I never get any sun. The gap there is all of nothing. So this is the max screw that I'm going to be able to use. Okay, so what if I stack up gummies with this one? Oh, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of room. God damn it. I can't do that on the bottom. Man, I'm feeling kind of screwed here. Like, and also embarrassed. I swear I've built a quad before and had a similar issue, but so I can't do that bottom, and I don't want to flip the ESC. I cannot flip the ESC. I mean, I guess I could. But do I really want to? I really don't want to, but okay. So if we do that, then I got the connector on top. No, the power connections are going to be all jacked up. All right. I think I got to swap it again. Shit. Okay. So, good news. I at least know which way that my ESC gummies have to go. And it was the way that I had it originally. Son of a bitch. Sometimes you don't know until you try. Maybe I just should have started with the damn motors. I know where they go. Ah! Come on, sucker. So I'm mainly doing this stream now too because originally I wanted to do a different video on this, which was going to be more of a flight review video, kind of after the build and everything. So I run DFW FPV, and obviously DFW is Dallas Fort Worth, and in our area we do a meetup once every month. It's the last Sunday of every month in the morning, and this Sunday was going to be the last Sunday of the month. Well, it still will be, but our meet is canceled because of the rain. You know, after dealing with like 3 months of stupid 100-degree weather, every time it gets wet here, like it's been raining for a couple days, or at least will be for the next few days. You got to remember what the heat was like and all the complaining we did then. So try not to complain about the rain. But the rain sucks, especially when we have an event planned. Okay. So we got that part back to being done, right? You know what I really need? I need to like cut these standoffs. That's what I really need to do. But I'm not going to do that. So let's figure out where's the arrow. The arrow's that way, but actually, yep, we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I feel like it's touching underneath. I feel like the components are touching. And I really don't want metal touching metal. Because that's too risky for me. But I'm not going to put like a piece of tape on there to try and insulate it. So I'm going to need these red ones might be just enough. Ooh, that might not be the right size though. Let's see. The black ones might be too much. Red ones might do the trick, but they seem super narrow, so I think I've got to try these black ones. Let's see. So normally in this situation, I would basically put a thinner one on the ESC because I would have like a nylon nut on the bottom. But as I pointed out, like there's not a lot of room here because of the deck size. Just not a lot of width there. Yeah, so these red ones are way too small for that. So we're gonna go this way. I mean, another thing I can do is, because that metal will hit on that. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go this way. Ah! Don't break it, don't break it. All right, we're gonna go this way. So from the bottom. All right. Oh man, these black ones are hefty. These are beefy. going to be a pain to get through, I think. I don't know why it feels like these have so much more material than the last. Technically, they're the same size. Okay. These are going to be squished to hell, but as long as no metal touches metal, that's what I care about. Oh, that's going to be too much, I think. No, I can get a nut on there. All right, screw it. We're going to try it. Can y'all even hear that music, or is it just here for me? All right, so things we've covered on this frame. Design, the top plate, the top plates. So I do think it's really cool that you can kind of choose. I might be interested in feeling how they fly differently, right? Another thing, I've never flown a quad toilet tank before. So that could be interesting. It reminds me, I think I only have one battery pad left. I should say enough battery pad for one left. I just bought like the package from what's his face? What? Oh my god! So that is absolutely the best battery pad that's out there. I think I did learn that from Bardwell, so thanks. I learned something. And I was very happy with that battery pad. So that's going on this. I wish I remember what my F5 split weighed beforehand. I want to say it's probably very similar to the weight of this, though. Just because of the structure, construction of it. Alright, let's get some screws in this sucker and see what we can do when we get some nuts on it. Yeah, this is gonna be tough. Oh, we're gonna squish the hell out of this. Holy crap. Alright, here we go. Come on, baby thread. Thread, baby thread. And push without breaking anything on the flight controller. Ah, son of a bitch. I dropped it. Okay, so this is a little bit awkward because I have to keep the actual driver like on it while I push the whole unit down to try to get the screw on the top to pop up. And like I said, part of this is because of the way that I built it and the spacers here, or the gummies, because you're not like dealing with these gummies. But again, it's such a small amount of room to work in here. It does not want to catch a thread. I think I caught a thread, a singular thread. Is that not the right size for that? No, it is. Let's get the other one. All right, there we go. Wow, what is going on here? That one at least is poking out a little bit. Oh. Give me a couple threads. So I'm trying to push on the bigger components of the flight controller. I really don't want to break any of that. Hey, look at that. We're getting there. You see how smushed that is, right? I haven't even screwed it down at all yet. Really? There we go. There we go. All right. Now we're cooking. Look at how squished that is. Did I put it on wrong? Son of a bitch. Why didn't y'all tell me? Oh my god. I put it on wrong. I can't believe I did that after I got it threaded and everything. Hey, look, that USB should not be pointed that direction. It's the risk of doing it live. Doing it live. I can't believe I did that. Ah, oh well. This is real building, folks. All right. David, what's up, man? You said that you're going to be out Sunday, but you probably missed it when I said we are actually moving our or changing our event. So our event on Sunday, I guess I never really got around to this. So we do events every last Sunday of the month. However, we got rained out this weekend, so we will not be meeting in person on Sunday here in DFW. Instead, what we're going to be doing is a sim night. We do this every once in a while. I should say a sim day because we're doing it during the day. So we're going to meet up in our Discord channel, and our Discord is, you can get the link on our website. Our website is dfwfpv.club. So Discord is like the very first link there. Or you can go to dc.dfwclub or dfwfpv.club. That's DC as in Discord, .dfwfpv.club. It'll take you straight into our Discord. We meet up in the voice chat channel there. And then we play various simulators. Everything from liftoff. We do a lot of Velocidrone racing. Before I screw this on there. Yeah, okay, it's the right way. So a lot of Velocidrone racing, liftoff, like I said, Trip. I'm kind of a fan of Trip. I think the graphics are awesome. The other thing is I will be streaming that as well. So this Sunday, we are not meeting in person. We originally were going to go to the Trinity River location, but Trinity River is absolutely flooded, and it's only going to rain here for another 3 days, including on Sunday. So it didn't really make sense to try and meet because I don't have conformal coding for this yet. Yeah, so that's what's going on. We're going to be simming, and I'm going to be streaming it here on YouTube for everybody else to watch if you can't make the actual event. All right. Once you get 2 on, then you're pretty good. You're pretty solid at that point. Let's take a look on the side. So you got the you got that piece bulging a little bit, which is fine. Under tension a little bit. Here is the main thing that you need to be careful about. Again, I don't know how well that focuses, but the actual connector for the ESC, right? That piece is right up against the carbon. So I kind of don't want to crank this down. Well, matter of fact, I'm going to loosen it by just about a half turn. If you do that too much, that plastic will actually break apart, and you don't want that. And I actually still have to fit the actual connector in there. So when I get to that point, which I don't know if that'll be tonight, we're going to have to dig into what do I do with that? And do I have to move it or do I have to loosen it up? But for now, let's get our other 2 stack screws on. And that's going to be fun because they got a little bit warped. I don't know if you could see that from moving around underneath the stack there. So we're going to see if we can screw through it. Nope, doesn't look like it. All right, time to get the tweezers out. I may actually have to loosen her up again. There we go. I'm getting her. Not pretty. But I think we got all the way through. Did we get through? Did we get through? There she goes. All right. All right, let's see how it is on the other side. The other side also definitely needs some maneuvering. So if I were smart, which I think I've already made it clear that I'm not, I would have put all the screws in first before I started actually locking everything down. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to have to loosen these things up at least a little bit. I say a little bit, and then at some point you're going to loosen it so much and it's going to pop right off. Just like that. Fixing quads live. Fixing quads live. There we go. All right, all 4 screws are on now. I just need to worry about the nuts. Yeah, that's right. I said nuts. I'm getting very tired. All right, let's do this far side first. Okay. Oh, microphone, you're in the way. Sorry, hand is probably very much in the way. Ah! I wonder if it would be easier for me to like hold the nut and then use the driver to actually just drive into it and turn that. Oh, yeah, how about that? It worked. Two more. All right. So much easier to do it that way. Why didn't anybody tell me that was easier, huh? What the hell? Yeah, David, we'll figure something out. I'm trying to think what's going on next weekend. Because that's the thing. I think it's like raining from like it's storming pretty bad right now. I think it's raining from now until, I don't know, December or something. So I have to find time to actually get out and fly this thing, which I'm really looking forward to flying it as much as you're looking forward to seeing it. All right, I'm not going to crank these down much more than they are. I'm just getting enough thread on them so that I'm convinced it's not going to shake out. But there really isn't a lot of thread on this. So like I said, the main thing that I am always concerned about is the gap between your ESC and the flight controller, because there are enough components that kind of protrude out of both of them that I don't want them touching. So it's always kind of a balancing act of finding the right gummies that give you the right distance that you're looking for, without putting too much stress on too many of the parts here. So like this side looks pretty good. I'm also trying to even it out. Like with most builds, I basically, like almost all of my other builds, I have a lot more room and the screws and the nuts will be flush with the top. This one, not so much. It's not all that flush. I'm okay with it for now, because boy, is it pretty locked in there. All right, next thing, let's get the ESC wires back on to make sure that I don't have to like loosen and screw with that anymore. David, the other thing is we not only do we have our end of the month event at the last Sunday of every month, but Jonathan, our other admin, he has been running a small team event. And that usually happens in the middle of the month. If you're interested in that, make sure that you keep an eye out for those events, because the locations go out usually a few days beforehand, and they only go out to the people who are in the chat and who have committed to going. So those are a lot of fun. So that will happen before we get to the point of talking about the November meet at the end of the month. I don't know if we have our plans for our November team meet yet. But keep an eye out for that event that will show up on Facebook and also our webpage. Hey, good opportunity to plug our webpage again. dfwfbv.club. We do have an event calendar out there. I usually update that as we get them actually planned. So there's usually at least 2 or 3 that are sitting out there. Another thing that I can go ahead and talk about, next weekend, November 4th, DFWFBV will have a booth at the Airplanes and Coffee fly-in. This is actual airplanes, like you can sit inside them and fly them. It would be absolutely inappropriate of me not to tell everybody that I'm a pilot, because you're supposed to do that. I flew airplanes before I flew drones. So we're going to help out Airplanes and Coffee out there with their event. It's huge fly-in. Usually they get at least 100 airplanes in. There's probably 300-400 people that come through. November 4th, it's going to be at Alliance Airport in Fort Worth. And we're going to be there. We're going to have a table set up, basically talking about a ton of drone stuff, just anything recreation, anything dealing with regulations and what's going on with like remote ID, and going on in the FAA. Yeah, so we'll have a handful of people. I will have this drone there. So if anybody's in the Fort Worth area and you do want to come check this thing out, definitely come out to that fly-in. Again, look up Airplanes and Coffee on Facebook, and you'll see the event, Alliance Airport, the 4th. That's November 4th. Anytime in the past when I was talking about it, I'd say August 4th. I have no idea why. November 4th in the morning, Alliance Airport. Okay, stack is on. Oh, you know what I just forgot? All right, so somebody's saying in the chat what I forgot. All right, what happens when you got the whole stack on there, huh? What's the thing that everybody forgets when you get the stack on there? The big question is, well, what the hell are you going to do with your camera, right? Your camera wires. So ideally, for most of my at least 5-inch builds, I wrap the camera wire all the way under the ESC. That's not going to happen with this build anyway, because of the way that the port for the ESC wires for the flight controller are set up. So we're going to have to go over the flight controller with the camera wire anyway. Okay. So now how do we want to mount our, let me take off the antenna here, because I have a couple of these antennas for the O3 air units, and the one that I want to use I have cut shorter, probably by about half. So for right now, I just want to get rid of it and hopefully remember where the hell I put these screws. It looks like Armando did give me a bag of screws for it, so thank you, sir. Room for whoops and tiny trainers. Indoor event at Saginaw tomorrow night. Ooh. I might have to look into that. If that thing has a Facebook event, share that to our Facebook group. I would love to be aware of that. Every once in a while, DFW FPV will do some work with the Dallas Drone Racing folks. And Dallas Drone Racing is actually looking for a new location for their whoop races. So they lost the place that they had previously, unfortunately. I don't know exactly where Saginaw is, though. All right, so we're going to pull this wire as well for right now. Let's see what we can do here. So it is going to be definitely a tight fit with the with the capacitor. Da, da, da. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but I am rocking out to it internally and loving it. Okay. That will be fine. That'll be, well, it'll be a little bit tight with the capacitor. I think I'm actually gonna have to do it this way. And then bend that down. Yikes. Okay. Let's get those screws. Yeah. These, okay, DJI, another thing. Like, these screws, I think, are like M1.5s or something. They're like a ridiculous size. It's ridiculous. Come on. You know who else does that? iFlight and their ProTech 35. The screws that they use for the frame and everything is, it's an M2.5. M2.5. They don't sell those in hardware stores. I guess that's not a huge deal because like everybody buys everything from Amazon anyway, but it bothered me. Okay, let's get this going. North of Meacham. Okay, cool. Like north. All right, so these are definitely the ones that I need for the 03. Let's go ahead and get it on here. I'm going to do the front first because it has the like weird looking door for the camera cable holder. Wondering, do I need a spacer in that or not? Oh, don't even tell me it's not the right screw. Oh, there it goes. I'm just hooking this sucker straight up to the carbon. I don't care. Although I should care because if I have a problem with it, I know what sort of service DJI provides. Yeah, DJI, are you watching? Yeah, no wonder that wasn't working well. It's an Allen key, not a screwdriver. Let's hope. Nope. It's got to be smaller than that one. Here's the smallest one that I have. Let's hope that it is the right size. It is not. It is? Are you serious? Good Lord. Nope. All right, so these will be interesting. I don't know if you caught into what I was saying there, but the smallest Allen wrench I have is not small enough for these screws. And I don't feel like going to get my set, so I'm just going to kind of hand tighten this to get it in place for now. I can kind of screw it in with it, but it is definitely not the right size. Remember when I first pulled this up and I said, come on, DJI, damn you guys for using that size screw? Well, here's a perfect example of why. Seriously. Indoor flying at the middle school gym on Saturday night, October 28th, 5 to 10. And that is at 1001 East Bailey Boswell Road in Saginaw, Texas. So there's a cool event. Yeah, cool. So David, yeah, talking about DJI losing 2 walks now. I'm telling you, after the service issue that I had, this right here in this quad, I think this is probably the last DJI product I ever buy. The fact that company asked me for a password via email, I can't believe it. when I only told a couple people that, a couple groups that, and every one of them was like, that's obviously a scam. I'm like, no, this is the real DJI. I've been talking with them for 30 some emails. I'm convinced they committed fraud when they asked me to pay full price for something, for a fix. I still think they committed fraud for the $70 that I paid, that they said they gave me a new unit. It's not a new unit. I absolutely think they committed fraud. I don't have the money to legally fight it. And proving that is also kind of difficult sometimes. But yeah, I'm really considering walk snail. I don't know enough about it. I still haven't flown walk snail. But those new goggles, they sure do look pretty fancy. I like what they're doing with the removable RX. So there might be some hope there. Now, it's the tricky thing, right? It's the Apple problem. DJI is the best at what they do. DJI hands down has the best quality image. They have hands down the best quality range and penetration. Fight me. Right? They know their niche, right? They're not going for the racers. They don't care about the latency. They know good enough latency is good enough latency, right? They have great technology. So can they afford to be assholes? Yeah, they kind of can, and that sucks. I don't like it, but yeah, walk snail looks really good. All right, did I? Got it? Nope. I swear to God, y'all, I lost. It's got to be sitting right here in front of me somewhere. I lost my DJI antenna. I'm not talking about this one. I had one that I had cut up a little bit. That was shorter. Huh. Oh well. For right now, I will just size this. Where the hell did it go? That's bothering me. Where did I put it? Hold on, let me take another look. All right, I can't find it. Whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and mount the one that I have here, even though it's much longer than I would prefer it. Okay, so for this mount, it's push those in there. Then push the antenna down a little bit. That's actually not too bad. Let's get these standoffs back on here. So I'm trying to think, how am I going to wrap this up? At least for tonight, because I'm not going to go through and wire this. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys watch as I solder, because for soldering, I'm not going to be talking, especially on tiny boards like this. Oh, am I going to have to pull it off? I was trying to see if I'm going to have to take off the flight controller to be able to solder the ESC, but I can get in there. I'm not a great solderer, but I am at least good enough that I can manage that. The main things that I'm still going to have to figure out is, where am I going to put the receiver? But honestly, there's room in the front here, so I'll probably throw it in the front. Then I'll just have to figure out what I want to do with the antenna. These things are annoying to get back on. Come on, you can do it. Usually I'll use a larger Allen wrench driver, and kind of use that to kind of pinpoint the pressure on top of it. There we go. Nope. Pulled it right off immediately. Is this how you guys build quads? I don't know. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do you think? That's another thing. I haven't ever built with anyone. And everything I have learned, just about everything I've learned, is thanks to Mr. B. Not Beast. Mr. Bodwell. Mr. Bodwell. I mean, we're getting close to the end here of me wrapping this up. To the point where once I get this in here, the rest of the stuff is mostly going to be solder. And even the cable for the O3 is just running the cable. That's not difficult. All right. So those will stick out just a hair. That's fine for now. Let's get this. You know what? Let's get this plate back on here, and then I'm gonna put on the. Ooh, so there's something to check. I was worried about that. I don't know if you could see. Hopefully, there's enough light. The capacitor. So the capacitor, at least for this, is just barely squished between the O3 air unit and the top plate. I've seen that before, like on the F5. It is that way a little bit, and also on the Quad Mula F3. It was so bad that I actually had to wire it and move it, because a lot of times there will be slits in the top of the plate where it just can go into the slit and come. It'll go into the slit and come about 1 millimeter, because that's all that's really needed. This one, I think I'd fly it like this. This isn't horrible. Like, it's just enough where it's, if it were any higher or if it were under any other pressure, I would be a little bit nervous about it, but I think that will be okay. Ugh. God, I hope I'm not wrong on that. Okay, so cap. I'm probably definitely not getting a strap into that. I need to get a strap to make sure it'll still fit over the light controller and everything. Let's see. Do I have a strap in front of me? Be right back. Huh, do I have straps? I got all the straps. So this is a thank you to RDQ for giving straps with all your orders, because I have a gazillion of these now. So many straps, and I probably need one bigger than that. That's a tricky thing. I can never tell which ones are the bigger ones. I think that one. So, like that. Normally I like to do 2 straps, but that's something to be aware of too. I think with this frame, I might only be able to do 1 strap. Boy, that sure doesn't like getting pushed on there very much. It works. It works. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do 2 straps unless I really had the battery loaded in the back, which might not be such a bad idea because I'll be running with the GoPro 8. All right, let's get these spacers on here. Spacer. Let's get these screws going. Okay, there's one. those screws I'm kind of putting on a little bit tight, like I would if this were the final wrap up, because I want to see how it sits with the capacitor on there. Yeah, tight. I'm not thrilled with the antenna wires, so I would clean that up a little bit too, but not right now. What the hell am I listening to? Jesus. Let's see, can I actually do this with... I'm gonna need longer screws. Here we go. Another thing that I think I'd change, and this has more to do with Armando and the printables link. I'd probably make this a little bit thicker. The TPU print here. Let me take the GoPro out so it's easier to get this thing screwed in. Hot off the printer like 13 hours ago. I know it's a horrible view of the back of my hand, but I swear I'm screwing it good. You might be able to see on the top of that screw it kind of dimpling in a little bit, because you know you want to make sure that it's nice and tight, but then you risk your TPU coming right off of it, splitting and breaking. The risks of FPV. FPV life, baby. Ooh, okay, so here's something to be aware of. Of course, the camera cage has a hard stop in it, right? So the camera cage does not have a hole on the bottom of it. So right here. So this screw that I'm using is too long. It just stops at the bottom of it. So that might be something to consider. If you could do a screw all the way through it, that way you could use larger screws if you want, and you're not limited to whatever size that is. That means I need to find a screw here that is slightly smaller than that. And I don't have one. At least available right in front of me. And I don't think that these are going to work. Maybe they will. Just barely. Maybe a thread or two. Nope. I mean, I have screws, so I can go get one, but it would have been nice if I could just use those long screws and screw right through until the bottom of it. Let me go look at my screw box. Always prepared, y'all. Always prepared. Okay. So I have the right screws. I have the right M3s, but I hate it because they use the 2.5 millimeter instead of the 2. So that's annoying. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, it'll work for now. We'll say that. Get another one. I'm gonna have to like take this whole thing apart and do an actual like decent video of build, or at least cut it up or something. This is long and ridiculous. Yeah, but we're starting to look like a quad, right? All right. So one thing that you always have to debate with a new build is how do you do your power leads. You're definitely not coming out the top here. I think that there's just not enough room to get around the capacitor and get into that. So I don't think you're coming out through the holes here. I typically go to the side usually, and then I use the actual strap to tie it up. You know, earlier I talked about pushing the battery back too much, but it's kind of where it belongs on this quad. Between the weight of the GoPro here, it really does kind of belong on the ass half of the thing. Excuse me. So if we get it strapped on here, oh man, it's begging for two straps. Oh, that's begging for two straps. Okay. I'm just going to throw this out there too. Other thought is if I have a frontal crash, I mean, obviously I would have the grip on here, but I'm absolutely punching a battery into the back of this hard plate. I'm not worried about the standoff on it. Standoffs are cheap. Batteries that catch fire while they're still attached to your quad are expensive. To me, that's something to think about. But then again, once I get a pad on here, and then maybe if I can fit a strap back here, but God, that's really not a lot of room. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to make any final judgments until, you know, I get everything done on it. Another thing that sometimes I consider doing is getting the leads out front, and then you're hitting your GoPro more than anything on this particular build. All right. I'll have to play with that another time. I want to get these motors on here. I'm anxious to get the motors on. One and two and we'll go with three. This was a questionable one because one of these were burnt and one of these was a long form that I wired up myself with the MR30s. So we're gonna go with the one I wired up. Hope nothing blows up, gets destroyed, or anything like that. Let's go ahead and pop this off. Okay, that. And there's three. Let's get number 4. All right. Again, what the hell is this music? Good Lord, I need something different. All right. Motors. This is going to look good with these motors. The blue on them, I like it. So I color coordinate all of my quads. So I have my quad mulas are green, which don't do that because every time you crash in grass, it's a problem. But my theory was moolah, money, green, so quad mula. What else? My Nazgul at one point was Nazgul red, so all red. What else do I got? My Freedom spec quads are full out this teal, so I'm kind of continue the tradition of keeping my 533 gear in the 533 teal. Part of that is just kind of what you buy from them, right? The other part is, I don't know, I just kind of like it. And everybody should know that looks are 50% of the battle. Yeah, so I got... Oh, well, I should say one of my Freedom Spec quads is the teal. I call him Mr. Blue. And the other one is actually all red as well, so that one is Mr. Red. There we go. Oh, she's starting to look like a quad again. Still, again, whatever. I gotta remember, since I've like only put in half of the screws for some of these things. I gotta remember that for later. I mean, here's the important thing. Do you do a pre-flight of your quad every time you go flying? You should. So the night before I go flying or one of our events, I will take whatever quads I'm taking, and I will make sure every screw is torqued properly. I mean, torqued properly. I'm not sitting here with like an actual torque wrench, but I'll make sure that everything is nice and tight. No wires are messed up. I'll do an actual tech check, make sure that I get video, and make sure that my radio is working properly. These are all the nice things that you're supposed to do, right? I think part of it is I'm just so used to doing that from when I would fly airplanes. So it's just kind of natural converting that over to drones. Well, you know what? I know one thing that I can do before we get out of here for the evening. Well, I know two things. I'm wondering what version of Betaflight I'm going to put on this flight controller. I'm actually thinking about putting the CAC firmware on it, to be honest. And then usually with my freestyle builds, I will start with the Karate Freestyle tune. I'll just kind of dump that and work with it from there. So I think it's probably what I'm going to do with this guy. The CAC firmware, why would I use that over 4.5? Because I can get cool messages in the OSD. You know, that's the real benefit of it. RPM limiting is great for Freedom Spec. Like I love Freedom Spec. I love that I got into racing because of Freedom Spec, right? But for freestyle, I don't care about the RPM limiter. I have a throttle limiter on my transmitter if I need it. These are 1950 motors. 1950s, are they? 1980s. Or 1960s, I'm sorry. Can't tell if that's a 6 or an 8. Anyway, they're 19-something kV motors. Which is... I'm mostly a fan of 1750s. I have that on my Quad Mula, and I really like the 1750s. I like having a little bit more of the room on the throttle, because otherwise on 6S you blip and you go straight to the moon. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to, play around with this and feel it out to see if I even want to run it with the throttle limit. But the good thing is, when it is on a knob on your transmitter, you just move it and test it, move it again, test it. You can do it mid-flight if you really want to. Don't ever mess with that when you're racing, though. I have made that mistake. Don't ever make settings in between heats when you're racing. Yeah. There it goes. I almost lost a screw. Oh my god. She's getting pretty. All right. Big question. What props do we put on her? Should we put ooh. Yeah, I know what props we're putting on. Well, I can put on the teal Freedom Spec props, right? I mean, it's a good prop. Or I have some MCK Hurricanes. Let's just size it up and put on the MCK Hurricanes here. Just for shoots and giggles. So these are the they're the Gemfan Hurricane MCK 51466 V2s. I got a handful of these at IO this year, and I actually really like these props. They're not on my quads right now, but I did fly with it at IO, and I really enjoyed them. I like them. The main reason I'm putting them on right now is not even because of looks, even though, 50% of the battle. It's mainly because I want to see the clearances. So, and also because since I made the GoPro mount, I took what Armando did for the base, and then I basically slapped another one that I had on it. I'm going to have to throw the GoPro in there. I think it'll clear no problem. I think it'll be all right. Okay, so it gives you an idea on tolerances and what kind of length that we're looking at on the front. Let's take a look at our tip distances. Okay. So there really isn't there isn't a whole lot of room there if you did want to go toilet tank. At least with the batteries that I have. I mean, ooh, like that's, I mean, I guess it works. Yeah, I mean, it works, but boy, is that kind of, I guess it would be fine. Maybe I will try toilet tank with this sucker. I might do that. Especially since I only have one strap. Now the big question is, what are you going to do about... You almost have to go opposite way, so I'd come out this way with the leads and come over. Yeah, I'm gonna play around with that when I get the final build done. Let me get the GoPro in here and then weigh it. Because the only thing that's missing is the receiver, so that's like all of what, 2 ounces. Make sure clearance is good. Clearance is good. Geez, what else we got? What else? I think we're done. Except for a couple nuts, the receiver, and the actual power leads, and the end of the MR30. So this isn't going to be exact weight. Here's the thing. If I got to guess, based off of weighing it right now in my hand, and the other builds that I've done, I think... oh boy. I'm going to take a guess here. I wish I could give myself something to win if I got close. With the 1200, this is the R-Line 50 1200. My other builds are usually about 780. This one I'm gonna say is It's got to be close because there's not a lot to it, but I am missing a few things. It's probably 750 to 760. All right, so there's that. We're talking with the GoPro and now with the battery. I was way off. Way off. Way off enough that I'm going to take another look at that. That's ridiculous why I'm that far off. Why am I that far off? All right. What am I missing? God, according to this, it's like I'm missing a whole fucking motor. 675. 675. Add in wires and actually here's the connector. So let's try and get as close as we can, right? I said it'd be about 750 with everything. So I got the nuts on there with those props. It's at 685. You know what? Let's get a really exact amount. Here are all the other parts of the MR30. So this is gonna this will be slightly over because I still have to cut these a little bit. Let's toss those on there. There you go. That is a 696 gram all up weight with the R-Line 1200. That's pretty good. Oh, and a full size GoPro 8 and an 03, the full stack. Not the receiver. Let me grab the receiver. See, I knew it was going to start adding up. 533 grams. Nice. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the receiver, the antenna on, and then I'm going to get one zip tie because the receiver doesn't need its own TPU necessarily. Usually I will just zip tie the shit out of the antenna. Sorry. I'm shaking your world up, aren't I? Sorry about that. There we go. Woo. All right. Let's drop it on. I knew we were going to be over 700. Are you fucking kidding me? 700 on the dot. So yeah, this is everything. Receiver, antenna, receiver, nuts, props, MR30s on all the motor wires, all of the motor wires, zip tie for the antenna, GoPro 8, 03 air unit with an SD card, and 1200 battery. One of the extra things that I have on my others is I have a second battery strap. So there's that. I have a more heftier mount on the back, so TPU, I have more TPU on my other drones. Just those alone are worth at least 30-40 grams, right? Yeah, so a 700 all up weight with a GoPro 8, that is not bad. I think the GoPro 12s right now though are like an extra 100 grams, so you're gonna be running an 800 gram camera unit, but that's fine. Not a huge deal with that. All right, what are my thoughts? I want to do this toilet tank, so I'm going to make that change. I need to get everything soldered on, if you want to count solder, so the weight will come up a little bit. But again, I will go back to who the hell cares about weight? There are people ripping 800, 900 gram amazing 5-inch quads, and they do some really cool stuff with it. So I'm not a weight snob, but it is something that people are interested in knowing. You're also rocking 6mm arms, so fairly hefty. Matter of fact, my first big quad, or my first 5-inch quad, was the Nazgul. I got in on the XL5 version, B5 version, and that had 5mm arms. That thing's a tank. That's a beast. So I'm not even worried about breaking these arms. All right, let me get some of this stuff off. You go back there. Oh yeah, and the cable. I forgot the cable for the 03. So anyway, right around 700 grams is what you're looking at though. 533 grams. That's what I should have just said. They're like, oh my God, they made it 533 grams. Can you imagine that? How did they do it, ladies and gentlemen? Man, that Evan guy, he's just the magician, huh? All right. All right, so I have a little bit of cleanup to do on this guy. I'll tell you what, she's looking good. I like the look of her. I like the feel of it in the hand. How does it compare? Okay. Building wise, it is a little bit more complicated to build. I didn't say difficult. People are going to go, what the hell is the difference between complicated and difficult? Okay. The limitation of the gap between your top plate and your mid plate, I don't like that. That bothers me a little bit, just because if I got any longer screw, it'd be hitting the top plate. So it's kind of tricky getting that sizing right. I don't feel comfortable putting a nut on the bottom because I don't have the right size screw, right? Because normally I would put a nut on it. What might be a good suggestion? And I'd have to look at the underside. Like, I'd have to pull this out. Like, well, no, it would work. Put a press nut on the bottom. Okay. That would make me feel a little bit more comfortable, but it might give just enough of a gap here that you could clear the carbon with your ESC, because the press nuts do come to the opposite side slightly, I think. No, they don't. I'm lying. If you had a very thin press nut, I'll put it that way. You know, a press nut actually might have done the job. So if you look at the silver here, the silver on this press nut, right? The thickness of that right there. If I had that much clearance here, I could have gone with the thinner side of the gummy, and I think I still would have cleared this no problem, but I still think I would have had enough height to go with the thick side of the gummy and then the thin side of the top one. So that's where my head is. But we're talking, I mean, we're talking in terms of like tenths of millimeters here. So everyone just has to build it however they want to build it. The other thing to point out here, look at that front. The frunk, actually, that's what I'm going to call it. The frunk of this frame is all air. That's why I was surprised. It has the size of a 780 gram quad. It really does. As a matter of fact, I'll grab my F5 here in a second. But having all this space in the front here, boy, what do you want to do with that, right? So if you want to add a beeper, you want to add a buzzer, or hold on. All right, listen, all of you fuck the FAA folks, you just turn around for like a minute, okay? Just 1 minute. All right, did y'all turn around? Okay. Remote ID. No opinions on it. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just pointing this out. Okay? Just hear me out. So right here we have the flight test, the FT Easy ID is what this is called. Okay. Oh God. I mean, it can live in here and then some. Even with the O3 camera in there. It might be a little bit tricky. Maneuvering it with the camera wire, but look at that. Oh God, yeah. That's room for days, right? So 100% I could create some sort of a TPU insert for this and have that mounted there. And what did we say we were at? 700 grams? This unit weighs, what, maybe 40 grams? Not 40 grams. What the hell am I talking about? This weighs about 10 grams. So even if you add this on there with the TPU thing or whatever you're adding, maybe 20 grams, you're still at a 720 gram fully legal compliant 5-inch ripper. Meanwhile, I'm ripping a 780 gram quad. Okay, so remote ID. If you're gonna get it, if you're gonna fly legal, this has the room to accommodate it. Let me go grab the F5. All right, so let's take a look at the F5. Let me zoom this out a little bit. Let's take a look at the bases. So yeah, the F5 definitely has a bigger footprint. I mean, you could tell by looking down on it like this. It's not that much different though. They're pretty close. Very, very close to the dimensions. As a matter of fact, they look almost identical in length. The 533 Freestyle Frame is maybe 2 millimeters longer from the back of the top plate to the very front of the bottom plate, but we're talking millimeters there. And like I said, we're already at 634 grams, and that's before the GoPro. So with the GoPro, about 760 grams. So all the times that I was saying 780. All right, 760. Ooh, that's a very violent song. All right, where the hell's that remote ID? Let's get it out of my sight. Get it out of here. I don't want to see it no more. Rocking some Halloween music now. All right, time to go back to this. All right, I think that's it for the night. What do I have still left to do? Solder up some stuff, get some wires connected, swap over the battery strap to be toilet tank, get the O3 a little bit cleaned up on the wires here, and get the wires hooked up to the flight controller, and then go through software. I may record that, but the software stuff, I don't know if anybody would be interested in that anyway. Oh, and then I have to find an Allen wrench that is small enough that will actually screw that thing on. I don't know. What do you guys think if you guys stuck through this and checked it out? Oh my god, that music. Woo. Next song. So if you stuck it out, honestly, I spent 2 hours, but most of that was just bullshitting and chatting and thinking. If I were to build this all over again, it'd probably take me, 5-10 minutes. It's not difficult, but there are a couple extra pieces in here, and the main thing is the clearance between that top plate and that bottom plate is really tight. Now, if you are like a racer and you are already in the 533 family, right? You dig that stuff, and you're like, maybe I'll try this freestyle frame thing instead of their race frames. You're probably already used to building in very tight spaces like this, right? But a lot of freestylers that build freestyle frames, they have more room than this, and they can afford to get longer screws with things and not worry about hitting top plates. This is tight. So off the top of my head, the things that I might recommend changing, I would have holes that go all the way through the camera cage, so you could use longer screws there. I would do a press nut for the stack, because that tiny extra, 1/4 millimeter of clearance for that press nut, I think that would have given me an extra option or two as far as what gummies to use. What else? I think that's all I have for right now. But I'll continue thinking about it. The things that I like that they've already done and incorporated, I do kind of like the notch on the back that gives you options to keep your TPU small and lightweight. The split deck, I'm still unsure about. I gotta fly it, but I do think it looks cool. I like coming up with kind of, you know, and implementing different designs. But I also really appreciate the fact that they are doing this all with community-led and community recommendations. And that's why they sent both plates, both top plates, to me and to the other reviewers to go, hey, fly these. What do you think? Let us know. So that right there is a pretty big thumbs up. Again, this is a prototype. Anything that you've seen here, no guarantees. This is what's going to make it to production. But I will say that it feels like a production product already, except for a couple of those caveats that I mentioned. All right. That's all I got. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. And then this is going to get worked up tomorrow, even though it's going to rain for like 4 days. But I'll try and find a gap in the rain so that I can actually get out and get this in the sky. And you can see those videos right here on DFWFBV channel. DFWFBV.club. Get to our site. Jump in our Discord channel. We do a meet the last Sunday of every month, except this month we are rained out. So Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. Central, we're going to be in some simulator. We're going to be in the voice chat within our Discord. So come join us there. I really appreciate it. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Fly good. Don't suck.